Good. Okay, so greetings from Tokyo. This is Daisuke, and I want to do one more test because I will do a computer. I'll have my laptop here so I can see the comments more clearly. So now, okay, so Jared, hello. Ryan Gallagher, hello. Oh, it's nice to see you. Greetings from Tokyo. Oh, Connor, greetings. Greetings again. Sorry for doing this a second time. And Kia, hello, greetings. It's nice to see you. So this is much better. And Jared, I said hello, but I hope you caught that, but just in case you didn't, hello. Cineflect, my friend, hello, it's nice to see you. Greetings from Tokyo. How are you doing? Okay, so I think this is probably going to be a little bit better, so I'll... Oh, sorry, give me 1 second. This volume is really irritating me. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that's all set, and that's pretty good. So I just want to say hello, and I hope everything is well with you. And I want to thank you very much for the kind, the kind welcome that you provided with the last test. So I was really sorry that the test was a little bit in shambles, but that's fine. And I'm seeing there are more comments here. So Jambo Shango and the Randy Moles movie show, my friends. Oh, every time I think of the film Critters, I think of you. And I mean that in the most complimentary way, because that's still to this day one of the best. I love you guys. So cheers to you from Tokyo. One of these days I want to meet you in person and get your autograph. Orbital Robot, yes, hello, greetings. We're from Iowa. Oh wow, Iowa. That's great. I think I've never been to Iowa, but I've always wanted to visit one day. But anyway, thank you very much. And Jack, oh, it's so nice to talk to you in person. I feel like we've known each other for a long time, but oh, great. Matthew, oh yes, New York. How is New York, Matthew? And oh, Wolfgratz, pleasure. Wow, that's great. This is so cool. I feel like I think I mentioned it before, but I feel like it's talking with pen pals for a long time, but we've never met. But until sometimes pen pals decide to meet for the first time, and then suddenly it becomes a big thing. So I feel like that. It feels like a real thrill. And sorry about this. I'll just try to keep up with the comments, and we'll go from there. So Matthew, Matthew from Buffalo. Yes, hello, Buffalo. My father, I think for a little bit, my mother and father used to live in Buffalo. I don't know, it wasn't that long, maybe about a year. Maybe a little bit more, I forget exactly when, but that was when I was in college, and so I visited Buffalo when they were living there, and it's such a lovely place. I enjoyed visiting them very much. Very beautiful, very beautiful. I wish to visit one day again because it's such an unforgettable location and such a really warm people. So anyway, I hope you're well. So and I just wanted to say that I was. Just to fill out the test. Now it's a little bit after 5 in the morning here in Tokyo. And so I'm just a little bit, I just woke up, but I can't go back to sleep. Actually, I woke up at about 4:30, and I couldn't go to sleep, and I didn't want to disturb my family. And so I just came into this room, and I just was trying to think what to do, and I just wanted to try to test out the live stream once again. So I'm glad it's working out a little bit better because the comments are much easier for me to follow. Okay, so this is going to be good. So you're going to have to help me with this pronunciation, but is it Jarne Powell's? I hope I got that right. If I didn't get the pronunciation right, please let me know in the comments. But from Belgium. Oh, it's a real pleasure. So thank you so much, and please let me know if I pronounced that incorrectly, because I don't I feel bad if I do. So I hope you're doing well, my friend. And I'd love come to Iowa sometime. It's a wonderful place. I'd love to visit. And Cineflight, are you going to see Detective Pikachu? My daughter wants to go see it, but we just haven't had the time yet. So if we can get the chance, I'd love to go. And yeah, such is life. Yes, the comments are often difficult for a poor host to cope with. Such is life. Yeah, well, it's if this is yes, this is something that is very how should I put it? It's a real pleasure because it's really nice to try to catch up and meet you guys. So thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine. And McGregorable J, hello. I think one of the things that I find most challenging, and I really apologize if I might make mistakes, which is sometimes I get comments on YouTube, and the usernames are very unique ones, and then I'll get a separate message maybe on Instagram or on Messenger or maybe Facebook even, and it'll be a completely different name, and I'll just be, oh, hello, how are you doing? And I won't realize that maybe we'll have had a conversation on YouTube, but I'll talk to you on Facebook like you're a stranger, and so because the names are different, and so I really apologize if that is a little bit how should I put it, if the way I engage with you is a little bit alienating. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't mean to do this. Just sometimes it's hard to keep up. But let's see. So yes, and I thought this might be a good time because I know the time zones is a little bit difficult to have a common time zone, but this might be I think this might be an opportune time for a live stream idea. So just to let you know, before I move on, I just wanted to say that I was catching up or just reacquainting myself with David Lynch works. I'm a great admirer of David Lynch. I don't know if I mentioned it, I think I have, but Twin Peaks: The Return. I know David Lynch and Mark Frost are collaborators on that, of course. But if we were to consider that to be, including Mark Frost's contribution to that work, if we consider that to be a David Lynch film, so to speak, then I would dare say that Twin Peaks: The Return is arguably the greatest American film that I think I've seen of the last, whatever it is, 5 years or so. And so that's still up in the air for me, of course. And I haven't seen that many modern films or new releases, but still, it's a very great work. And I've seen it now. I'm in the middle of seeing it for the I think fourth time, the Return, and every facet of that work is mind-blowing to me. Every facet of the work is mind-blowing. And I'm trying to look at it not through the lens of a kind of David Lynch. I don't want to look at it like, maybe sycophantic or something. In other words, I don't want to try to be sycophantic towards David Lynch's work. In other words, to think everything that he does is great and blah, blah, blah. But rather, I wanted to try to be as critical as possible and try to point out or try to find faults that I found with other works. But so far, it's while there are faults, I think the faults are very minimal. And while I'm trying to be maybe perhaps even overly critical of the work, The Return, so far I'm finding it to be quite. It's withstanding my let's say stronger desire to criticize it, and so I think that's a very interesting sign. But in any event, that is the situation with David Lynch, and I think also in anticipation for, I talked about this yesterday, but in anticipation for the release of Blue Velvet by the Criterion Collection. That's part of the reason why I'm going through the David Lynch works. But Blue Velvet is that's a film that is very that is, well, I don't want to say important, but it's a film that I kind of grew up on. I think I saw it for the first time much too young, but it stuck with me quite forcefully, and it remained as a kind of almost, and I mean this in a good way, but as a kind of negative memory, because it was quite unpleasant in many aspects of its narrative, as I'm sure most of you who've seen the film know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to talk too much about that, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's never seen it, because the last thing I want to do is spoil a David Lynch movie. But so to talk about it in as vague terms as possible, how should I put it? It feels so real and so fake at the same time. It feels so nostalgic and so dangerous at the same time. It feels so seductive and so repulsive at the same time. And it is so mesmerizing and then so frustrating at the same time. Yes, very interesting film indeed, and one that means a lot to me. And I think I saw it at a young age, and when I did, I fell in love immediately with Roy Orbison, and my life has been forever changed. So if there are many things I want to thank Blue Velvet for, but if I were to thank Blue Velvet for one thing, it would have to be that it helped me to get acquainted with the works of the great Roy Orbison. So thank you, Blue Velvet, for that. But of course, there are many other things that I owe Blue Velvet my thanks to. So anyway, I'm looking forward to this. So that's why I was looking at Eraserhead, and this too is a remarkable, truly remarkable work. I tried to maybe mention it before, but I really think this film is elemental. This film is like, it's one of those, for me, I think it's one of those key films. It's like cinema has those building block films, those huge milestone films that I can't think could not have existed, if you know what I mean. They've always existed in my mind, and there are a number of films like that, and for me, Eraserhead is one of those films. But anyway, thank goodness for David Lynch. That's all I have to say, because it's really great. Okay, so let me just go back to the comments here. So please excuse me. You're gonna, oh gosh, that's terrible. Let me just move the locations here. Otherwise, you're going to have to see my hairy forearm. So let me just try to move my comment section. So okay, here we go. So let's see. So Wolfgratz, you say 4:30 is a typical wake-up time for you as well. Wow, that's great. So that's another thing we have in common. So that's great. Wolfgratz, I have to say, Wolfgratz, that you are, how should I put it? Like, I mean this. You are so great, because I find that reading your comments, it's like I learn something new from many comments that I read, and your comments are no exception to that, my friend. You have such a great depth of knowledge in an area of cinema, in a wide area of cinema, not just cinema, but a wide area of interest and fields, that I find that I would love to know how your mind works, because you have such a great recall, and you can reach into your stock of information about this and about literature, about it's amazing to me, absolutely amazing to me, and the kind of connections that you make. Really, it's a real pleasure, Wolfgratz. It's a real pleasure to read your comments. I wish if I wish more people, if you want to look at some interesting comments, you just check out Wolfgratz's comments, not just on my videos, but on other film-related channels as well, like. I know Luke at Razor Wire Reviews as well. Wolfgratz has some great comments on those videos. So Wolfgratz, thank you so much, my friend. You are the best, absolute best. It's a real pleasure. Let's see. So, Jack Clare, are you planning to do more live streams? So yes. So I think I will try to do this with more frequency. I'll try to set it in advance. So these two were just tests, and I didn't set any schedule. So I have to try to set a schedule and make a little announcement or do whatever it is that YouTube allows me to do. Maybe set up a time and then we can go from there. So let's see. And Jambo Shango and Randy Mole's movie show asks, ever gonna do a room tour, dude? So yes. Actually, no. I'm not going to do a room tour at the moment. I think room tours are a little bit. I'm a little bit embarrassed. I don't like to show too much of my room. I guess I could make an exception, but I do like to keep. Well, who knows? Maybe one day I can do a little bit of a room tour. But it's a little bit embarrassing because everything is always messy. That's another thing. I get a lot of, sometimes, well, not a lot. I get some comments about how my shelves are messy, or the way I arrange things on my shelf tends to be, they look like they're out of order. Like why do I have, one question that I get a lot is, for example, okay, so I'll have, for instance, the criterions on the shelf, right? And then they'll be arranged generally by spine order. But once in a while, I'll have and I'll have the DVD first and the Blu-ray. But once in a while, I'll have a title where it'll be switched. It'll be the Blu-ray first and then the DVD. And I'll get a comment or two once in a while saying, "Why do you have the DVD, the Blu-ray?" And my answer is that I don't care. I don't care about the way they're arranged on the shelf, to be perfectly honest. All I care about is the spine number. And I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful way, but I just want the way my collecting or arrangement mind works is that I just care about the arrangement of spine number order because I just need to know. It's kind of like a way of, how should I put it, just keeping track of what I have versus what I don't have. So as long as the spine number order is maintained on the shelves, then that means I'll be okay. I don't mind if the Blu-ray comes first or the DVD comes first. I really don't mind. There's no concern for me about that. I know for maybe people, not everyone, but I know some people who are very enthusiastic Criterion Collection collectors. I know there's a very strict way sometimes of trying to arrange things by spine number order, but also by the year that the thing was released. So DVD comes first and then Blu-ray or something. But to be perfectly honest, I really admire that, and I think that's a really great way to arrange things. Don't get me wrong, I think that's great. But for me personally, it's not something that I'm concerned about. And in fact, at the moment, my Criterion Collection shelves are actually a great big mess because I took a lot of things out for discussions of Bergman films in the past, and I took a lot of things off for discussion of Kurosawa films, and I just had to put them back rather haphazardly, and they're actually out of order. So at the moment, my shelves are very messy, and for that reason, I don't. I should really clean them up, but I don't have I don't feel like cleaning them up yet. So it's just one of those. I don't know. I just feel it. Maybe I don't feel oftentimes like I have to have everything exactly precisely like so. But again, that's just me. And again, I apologize if my collecting habits are a little bit irritating, but c'est la vie, I suppose. Okay, so next is, okay, so Yarne. So Yarne, thank you very much for clarifying and correcting my pronunciation of your name. So thank you, thank you. And Belgium, very nice indeed. Probably London. Jared says David Lynch is excellent. His works are incredible. Yes, he is. Jack Clare, Mark Frost is a really great writer. The way he synthesized hundreds of years of conspiracy theories in the first Twin Peaks dossier was amazing. You are absolutely right, yes. Vlad said South London. Arrogant Samurai, good evening. Arrogant Samurai, it's a real pleasure. Thank you so much. Connor, what are your thoughts on Lynch's Inland Empire? Inland Empire, I had the pleasure of seeing in the movie theater when I was living in New York at the time during its initial release. And it was I was so mesmerized by it. And there are some moments that, yeah, there are some moments that just really sort of creepy, absolutely creepy. And there are some moments, of course, many moments that are quite inscrutable, but that's part of the greatness of the mystique of David Lynch, of course. I always thought of Inland Empire as a kind of maybe a soulmate, if you will. Inland Empire is a kind of soulmate with Eraserhead, actually. In that there's a real, I mean, you know things with David Lynch, right? There's a sort of balance or battle between narrative stakes and truly Lynchian style, right? And they tend to collide or they tend to merge in a certain way. So Blue Velvet has a certain narrative story, but then Lynch's style then fuses with that and it becomes a whole new thing. Same is true with Mulholland Drive. Same is true with Wild at Heart. Twin Peaks, if you're to consider that as well, Twin Peaks as well. But I always figure the other films, or Elephant Man even, Dune. But I think that of his works, I think the two films that I feel like his style completely overcomes any narrative impulse that the film might have had. The two films that come to mind the strongest are Eraserhead and the next Inland Empire. Inland Empire's plot is quite deeply, it's frustrating, absolutely frustrating. And so I leave that aside and I just fall into the Lynch style mode. Whereas with Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, a straight story, I'll tend to follow it as well on a narrative kind of journey. Eraserhead and Inland Empire, the two, I completely just forget about the story and I'll just focus on the Lynch stuff. So, yeah, Inland Empire, fantastic film. Which film are we discussing at the moment? We're just talking about David Lynch in general, Arrogant Samurai. But if you have any films that you want to talk about, please feel free to do so. Wolf Creek. Oh, all things film. Yes, my friend. Evening. Thank you so much, Ian. It's a real pleasure. And oh, great, Ole. So, Ole Christensen. So, good evening from Sweden. He said, hello, my friend. It's real nice to see you. I hope you're well. To Jared says, I love Blue Velvet. I believe that is my favorite Lynch film. It's a very good film to have. You know, Jared, you never disappoint me, my friend. You have impeccable taste as always. Let's see. Kia says, I still organize alphabetically by title and I only separate between American, I live in the US, and foreign films. So that's very good. So there's another way of arranging films or titles in one's collection, which I think is really great. You're right, whatever works for you, that's what you should do. So well done, Kia, well done. Ole says, hi Daisuke, what do you think of Make Way to Make Way for Tomorrow, right? I think, is it Make Way? Anyway, yes, just what a yeah, I find that film to be so how should I put it? So great and I don't want to say too much, but great and moving and quite unforgettable. Yeah, yeah, just a great film. What was I going to say? Oh gosh, I was going to say something, but it slipped in my mind. I apologize. Wolfratz. Let's see. So Wolfrat says that reminds me. I just double dipped on getting a Masters. Yes, yes. So Masters of Cinema. Robert Chaffee. So greetings from Tokyo, my friend. Do you get the magazine Cineast in Japan? No, unfortunately, we don't. At least not in. Who knows? Maybe you can get it in some specialist store in Tokyo that sells like U.S. magazines, and so there is a store like that in Tokyo that I can go to. It's a little bit far, but well, not that far actually. But I can't go every day. But I know that the store has English books, and they also have English magazines, and so once in a while I'll go there. I'll peruse the Doctor Who magazine, but I don't think they have Cineast. But I'll have to check. Maybe I can ask them. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Yarne says, today I received the French Eric Romer Blu-ray box set. Yes. Anyone here have it or have any thoughts about it? Unfortunate that the supplements are just in French, so I can only watch the films. Yes, very interesting. I don't have that set, but I would love to at least consider it. Dave B., good evening from Western New York. Well, good evening to you, Dave B. It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Robert says, the new issue has an article on the different version of Caligula that might interest you. Yes, very interesting. Caligula. That is a film that, I think I mentioned, well, actually I didn't mention it, Robert, but I actually made a video about it, but I had to scrap it, abandon it at the last minute because the video editing wasn't so good. But I was going to make a video about my own personal guess as to what Spine 1000 for the Criterion Collection was going to be. And I think that Caligula, the restored or the reconstructed version, if you like, I think Caligula would be a fine choice for Spine number 1000. It's the perfect way for Criterion to make a statement. But I think that's a fine choice. For me personally, at the moment, I know a lot of people are talking about Citizen Kane, and I would be very happy to see Citizen Kane as Spine number 1000. I think I might have mentioned this before, but the older I get, the more I'm emotionally affected by the film Citizen Kane. When I saw it when I was young, I think, what's so, to be perfectly honest, I thought, what's so great about this movie? Why is this the greatest movie ever made? But, I don't know if it's the greatest film that I've ever seen, but I would certainly not argue with anyone who believes that, because I have so much respect for that film, and now I have a lot of emotional attachment to that film because of many aspects of Charles Foster Kane's character, the way he, just had to do. I don't want to talk too much about Citizen Kane lest I spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but there's a lot to do with the idea of the importance of parents and children. So important. But anyway, what was I saying? So Spine number 1000. So I think at the moment my heart is saying that I think I would love to see Spine number 1000 be this film, The Devils. Now, I don't claim to have any inside information at the Criterion Collection. I wish I worked there, but I don't. But The Devils is the one that I would love to see be Spine number 1000. Will it be Spine number 1000? Probably not. I am not so good with guessing these things. I don't have any good talent for that. So please, if anyone has any questions about what stocks to buy, please don't ask me because I would give you very poor advice. But just my heart is saying the devils because this is such a fundamentally important film for me. It makes me both angry and it makes me enthralled and in awe. And it makes me frustrated and I become very, my anger becomes almost volcanic when I think about the idea of the system and the suppression of the individual. Even though the individual is right. So that makes me so angry. And I think that anger is very important to feel. And that's just one aspect of why I think this film, The Devils, is so important to me. Of course, Ken Russell and Ken Russell's works and the Criterion Collection do have a relationship, of course, with Woman in Love, which is a great release, by the way. But The Devils, this is a film that is such a masterpiece that has been so poorly treated over the years. It's a disgrace almost. And to see a film like this resurrected, for lack of a better word, brought back to life, for lack of a better phrase, would be so inspiring. It would make me so happy to see. And it doesn't have to be Spine 1000, of course. It can be anything. I would welcome it anywhere, absolutely anywhere. But I think my heart says, wow, wouldn't it be great if The Devils became Spine number 1000? That would be just, I think, I don't know, I think it would be really something else. Oh gosh, yes, it would be really great. So that's where my heart is at the moment, The Devils. Although I will never disagree with anyone else. This is not necessarily a debate because it's just pure speculation on my part and wishful thinking, of course. So anyway, The Devils. I'm sorry, let me get back to this. Oh, and just to, I know some of my Japanese friends are watching, so こんにちは、別府です。おはようございます。今、5時半、朝5時半ですので、ちょっと、寝れなくて、なんか、まだ背中の調子があまり良くなくてですね、多分筋トレの感じでなんか変な風になっちゃった。でも昨日の夜もですね、ちょっと運動もしてみて、なかなかいつもよりなんかいい感じになってきてるんで、あれかなと思ったんですけど、今日はもうなんかちょっとまだ眠りが浅いから、もうちょっと様子を見ながらやっとかないといけないかなと思ったんですけれども、今日は日曜日だから、日曜日の午前中ちょっと行ってきて、でちょっと動かして、でその後いろいろちょっと休みだからゆっくりしようと思っておりますので、よろしくお願いいたします。Anyway, so sorry about that. So let's see. So let's see. What should I say? What else? And I hope there's lots of sunshine today. I certainly hope there's a lot of sunshine. But in any event, where are we at right now? So okay. So Reese asks, best Spielberg film. Steven Spielberg. Yes. I was speaking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I think. So for me, I think the best Spielberg film, it's a toss-up between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws. Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws. It could possibly, I think it's very difficult to decide between those two. To be perfectly honest, there's a point, I can't keep up with Spielberg's work. And so I haven't seen all of his films. But those two films are just, I can't imagine a time where I didn't know those films, if you know what I mean. They feel like they've always been around. So, Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark for me. Robert says, I think AI is his greatest film. Very good choice. I saw that in the theater and I was very taken with the film, and I still am. Jambo Shango, Jurassic Park, very good choice. I also saw that in the theater. It was great. What's the guy's name? Wayne Knight. I love Wayne Knight in that film, and there's a phrase that Samuel Jackson's character says because he's smoking and he's talking about cigarette butts, and he says, "Hold on to your butts." And I remember I was trying to explain what that phrase meant to a friend of mine who is Japanese, who was trying to get an explanation of that in English. And I remember I just had the most awkward time trying to explain the meaning of the phrase "hold on to your butts." But I hope my explanation went through okay, but I'll never know. But anyway, Sean, hello. Wolfgratz is talking about the Romer set. So I'm sorry if I'm going to skip over some comments, but Concrete Special, hello. You're saying the only titles that I have arranged in any order are my criterions. Everything else is just mixed together. Going through all of them to put them in order would take forever. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about, my friend. Yes, Yarny says, "Make way for Tomorrow" is such an impactful film, really wonderful. Yes, I couldn't agree more. Yes, stunning. Robert's New Jersey. Concrete Special says, best Spielberg, Jaws. Thank goodness he couldn't get the shark to work. Yes, it's a very good point. Very good point. And you know, Jaws, yeah, my favorite scene in Jaws is it's the one where they're all sitting around and just sharing, wounds, and then Quint goes into the story about his terrible ordeal with the sharks. That's I think that film is really great. There's so many things that I remember. I saw that film so much when I was younger, but that was in VHS, and that was before the days where there were subtitles, and so there's so many lines that I could of dialogue that I never quite understood what they were talking about. That sometimes happens. And like remember the scene when they catch the shark for the first time, but it's not the real shark. It's just another shark. It's a smaller shark. Some fishermen catch a small shark, and everyone at Amity Island is so excited because they think they've caught the shark and all the problems are done. But then Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss, comes in and he measures the size of the mouth and says, and he figures out that's probably not the shark that they're looking for. And then the fishermen say, what kind of shark is it? What kind of shark is it? And then Matt Hooper is just tying up something, just randomly turns to them, and he has something in his mouth, and he says, "Tiger shark," right? So he says, "Tiger shark." And then one of the fishermen turns to him and he says, "A what?" And I always thought, I never knew what he said. He said "awa," and I was thinking, what is he talking about? What is "awa"? I was trying to think, what does that mean? And so but I just kind of went along with it. It was just a small part of the film anyway, and only sometime later when I realized so when they asked, "What kind of fish is it? What kind of shark is it?" And then Matt Hooper says, "Tiger shark." And so the guy turns and says, "A what?" So he's like, "What?" Right, so he's saying "what?" I never knew that. It's the dialogue is so it's so realistic that it's hard to keep up sometimes. But thank goodness for subtitles, and thank goodness that we keep for the internet, because you can find things out with more success, I suppose. But anyway, all things film. Let's talk about The Wizard of Oz. Yes, I know of your love of The Wizard of Oz, and very nice. Wizard of Oz. Here, I can show you. The Criterion Collection did release The Wizard of Oz. It's right here. This is the Laserdisc of The Wizard of Oz. This is Laserdisc spine number 59. And excuse me for the noise, but so I think I might have shown you this, but it would be nice to have The Wizard of Oz back in the Criterion Collection, of course. Spine number 59, here and here. This is what's known as the special 50th anniversary edition, and it's got 2 discs, 4 sides, and it opens up like so. Really, really nice. Of course, it's not, Laserdiscs, of course, are not, they're of course no longer in production. And of course, we have DVD and now Blu-ray and all this great stuff in terms of picture quality and supplements and like. But there's something very charming about this Criterion Laserdisc. And this is actually a really good Laserdisc. It has, let's see, yes, Wizard of Oz 1903 stage production, Wizard of Oz 1925 silent excerpt, some promotional short and costume test footage, production information. Let's see, If I Only Had a Brain, an outtake, and on audio track to the Wizard of Oz radio broadcast, and other things as well. So, and also a commentary. Oh gosh, yes, Wizard of Oz. But anyway, I love you all things film because you have such great tastes, fantastic taste. Wizard of Oz, fantastic. Wizard of Oz and Commando, yes. Anyone who loves both the Wizard of Oz and Commando, that gets my respect immediately. And so, Commando, gosh, Commando, that is such that's such an entertaining movie, Commando. Let off some steam, Bennett. So, anyways, okay, where are we? So, just going to skip over some comments here. Let's see. I know some people are talking to each other, so I don't want to interrupt your conversation. Let's see. Gosh. Dave B says, I love David Lynch, The Art Life. Great documentary from Criterion. Yes. It's not a David Lynch film per se, but I know what you're talking about, and it's great. Absolutely great. I'm sorry, I'm lost. Oh no, what happened? Did I just jump? Oh gosh. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the comments here. What are your Matt Swick says, what are your thoughts on the Black Stallion? Yes, the Black Stallion. So that's another film that I saw when I was very young, and very lovely. It's I think a film that's not spoken about a lot, perhaps among maybe among enthusiasts, but it's a really fine film. Arrogant Samurai, what are your opinions on Kubrick? Oh, Stanley Kubrick. I don't necessarily consider Kubrick's work to be among my favorite works ever. Now, don't get me wrong here. That's not to say that I dislike Kubrick's films. I do immensely. I like his films immensely. I think the films that I find, however, this is one thing that I'd like to discuss one day, is this. I find that his films, where the contents or the subject matter has to do with a kind of clinical approach to the exploration of humanity. What do I mean by that? For instance, 2001. I think that's by far my favorite Kubrick work, by far, because it seems to synthesize so perfectly the subject matter on the one hand and Kubrick's aesthetic on the other hand. Aesthetic being very austere and very perfect, and quite removed any kind of excess or any kind of blemish, so to speak. Any kind of rattle of the camera is removed and in favor of a kind of a very clean presentation on a subject matter about the exploration and development of humanity, which I find, of course, to be just out of this world. But there are other points where I find that kind of aesthetic and the subject matter, for me anyway, it's hard. There's a little bit of a conflict. What do I mean by that? So let's take a film like, and I know my friend SJS Films loves this film very much, and so I don't I love this film very much as well, but I don't mean to um, rain on his parade at all. But I do love this film at all. But I hope what I have to say is very clear. I don't want to offend anyone. But let's take a film like The Shining. So The Shining is, I think, a really nice work. But I always find it very fascinating because, on the one hand, it has a very clean, very beautiful way of photography and presentation. Right, you have the tracking shots that are just sweeping. You have those wonderful helicopter shots at the beginning. You have the lovely the tracking of camera, quick zooms that are perfect. There's no rattle. There's no shake of the camera. Everything is slow, and I think that's really lovely. It has a very ethereal quality to it that always, and I understand what I think I understand what the general impulse is behind, or the filmmaking philosophy behind that approach vis-a-vis the subject matter of The Shining. However, for me personally, I always thought that the subject matter of The Shining was it was almost like it was like a pulp kind of story, pulp kind of ghost story. And so I always felt that there was some distance between me as a viewer and the subject matter, and the distance was created by the aesthetic quality of the filmmaking, and that might have been part of the point of the film. And so I find that to be find it to be a very like a beautiful experience, but I think because of that distance, I don't find the film to be scary. A lot of people mentioned it being very scary, but I never found The Shining to be very scary at all. And I think because of that, I find it to be beautiful. I find The Shining to be so lovely and beautiful to look at, but I was never scared by The Shining. I find it to be thrilling sometimes. I find it to be a bit shocking, and I get jumps, and there are moments that disturb me. But overall, I don't find it to be a scary film, and therefore, I'm always very intrigued because around Halloween time, a lot of people mention The Shining as being the greatest scary film ever made, but I never saw that. I never saw it as being a scary film. If you want to talk about great films, then I'd love to have that conversation, because I think The Shining is certainly a contender for being one of the great films. I think it really is a great film, but I find myself confused by what I perceive to be a kind of contrary approach, or there seems to be a clash between aesthetic style on the one hand and the subject matter on the other hand. And so that's to say that I'm a little bit Kubrick's works tend to confuse me sometimes, but I think that's maybe a good thing. And I don't want to claim that I understand every single thing about every facet of every film that was ever made. But so that, in other words, so with The Shining, what I find is it's supposed to be a horror film, but it doesn't scare me. So I'm struggling with that dilemma in my mind. But then I think at the same time, well, maybe I shouldn't think of it as a horror film. And once I let go of that, then it becomes a truly amazing film. And so that's an example of my approach to Kubrick. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know. If it doesn't make sense, then please, you can ask me, and maybe we can talk about it. Maybe I'll try to talk about it in a video, but that's my approach. But I mean, Doctor Strangelove is, it's great. Lolita, I think, is really good. I always loved the way. Do you remember the show? I don't know if it's there. There's a show, The Daily Show, in the U.S., and it used to be hosted by this guy named Craig Kilborn back in the day, and he always did this thing about he had this great way of imitating James Mason in Lolita, and he'd said quilty. So I was reminded of that, and I always loved the way James Mason said quilty. It's great work. There's a 90s version of that, I think. Is it by Adrian Lyne? Is that right? With Jeremy Irons. Adrian Lyne did that, Lolita? Jeremy Irons and Frank Langella, right, as Quilty. So is that right? And that was, I thought that was such a wow. If you want to see just a bizarre, unforgettable adaptation of Lolita, check out the. I hope it's Adrian Lyne, right? The Lolita version from 1990s with Jeremy Irons. That's a an interesting film. But anyway, let's go to the comments here. So Connor's, let's see. Yes, thank you. Again, I'm just going to skip around here. So I apologize if I skip you but please don't be offended. But All Things Film is saying all my are alphabetical except for Eastwood, Denzel, MOC, Criterion, Hitchcock, Chaplin, and Keaton. Well done. Road Warrior 76, hello from England. Road Warrior 76, I must assume that you are a Mad Max fan, so well done. Yes. If I were to borrow a phrase from, Lord Humongous, please don't walk away. Don't walk away, but please stay. So anyway, that's just a little joke, but Road Warrior, I hope you're well. Let's see. Reese is saying Spine 1000 is Citizen Kane for me. Good. Jack, Claire says they should do a set with 1,000 films in it. Ha! Very good idea. Let's see. Jared says Citizen Kane would be a fine film to be Spine 1000. Yes. Sean also says I'd like 1000 to be Citizen Kane or a Kurosawa box set similar to the Bergman one, AK-1000, a nod to the AK-100 box set. That's an interesting idea. You know, Bergman, the Ingmar Bergman cinema box set wasn't spine numbered itself. And so that might be an indication that that kind of box set wouldn't necessarily have its own spine number. But of course, nothing is set in stone in Criterion land, as we know, and anything is possible. We did see the Zatoichi set have its own spine number. We do see other sets, the Cassavetes set. I know it's not a full, complete filmography of Cassavetes' work, but that has its own spine number. Jack Demy, right? And the like. So anything is possible, that's for sure. I love that idea. Matthew says the cinema alone and the pace and the acting in Kane make it a classic. I couldn't agree more. Concrete Special. I still watch the Criterion Laserdisc of Citizen Kane from time to time. Good for you. You know, there are many versions of Citizen Kane on Criterion Laserdisc. It's spine number 1. It's also spine number, spine number 142. And so many to keep on. There's CAV, CLE, and all that. So well done. Andres, hi Daisuke, greetings from the US. I know you're a fan of some of Lynch's work based on your letterbox, but what's your opinion on Mulholland Drive? I don't think I've seen you talk about it. I love it. Maybe I've talked about it, but I'm not on its own video. But I love Mulholland Drive. I've mentioned this before, but I'd love to talk about it again. There's so many things about Mulholland Drive I love. It's a stunning work in every possible way. And I saw that in the theater as well. 2001? Something like that. 2001? Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm bad with my dates. But I think the greatest line of dialogue for me in the history of cinema is when Naomi Watts is leaving the house. She's about to go to the audition. And then she, as she's leaving, she says, "Don't drink all the Coke." I think that's the greatest line. Don't drink all the Coke. I love that line. It's so perfect. Don't drink all the Coke. Anyway, Mulholland Drive. I love it. Absolutely love it. Reese, Psycho. So I think you're talking about Spine 1000. So you're suggesting maybe Psycho, Hitchcock's Psycho. Yes, that would be great. Don't know if it's possible to get because, but that would be great. If it's Criterion, we should always, things. There are yes, nothing is impossible. Yes. Wolf Rats. When I saw Kane first, I was older than Wells when he made it. That depressed me in a way, but hey, it's a great film. Yes, Wells was very young, but though, right, when he made it. So there's no reason to be depressed. He was a very special individual, Orson Welles. So he had a lot of talents. So, yes, also, the late John Singleton, when he made his debut film, was it Boys in the Hood, right? So he was quite young too. He was also around the same age as Wells, right? 25, I would say, maybe young. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number, but yeah. And also, I know a lot of people maybe don't appreciate this film or like this film. I get that, but Lena Dunham, her film Tiny Furniture as well. She made that film when she was quite young, and actually, it's not the greatest film I've ever seen, but I find that film Tiny Furniture as well to be so. I think it's such a brave film, in many ways, and I can't imagine the kind of strength or the kind of willpower it must have taken to make a film like that, because it feels like it's such an emotionally raw film, and you have actual family members being there, and there's some explicit scenes of sex as well. So it's not a lot, but in other words, there's many scenes of intimacy and raw emotion that I find very powerful, and so I find that film actually to be quite brave. Tiny Furniture, but she also made that when she was quite young as well. So there are many talented filmmakers in the world. They make so many things when they're young. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. But Orson Welles, of course. Let's see, great to see Kurosawa box set from Criterion by Year's End, says Dave B. Yes. Concrete Special, The Devils Fully Restored, Cineflect. The Devils is amazing, Robert Chaffee. I love The Devils. Robert says, I did a stage version of it a few years ago. Well done, well done. Sean, The Devil's a heavy hitter. Yes, Concrete Special will never happen as long as a certain someone owns the right. Yes. Wolfgratz, it would be a good thing to bring Ken Russell into the purview of younger lovers of film more than he is presently. Yes, I agree. Ken Russell. Oh gosh, I'd love to do a series on Ken Russell. I'm not a Ken Russell expert by any means, but oh man, I'd love to do a series on Ken Russell. A curated order of the films of Ken Russell. What film to start in a curated order of a Ken Russell box set? Man, that is the question. Man, where to begin? Wow. I think I have. Do I have? Oh gosh. Oh man. I have to think about what my curated order of Ken Russell's films will be. That's great. Let's see. Sean says, I love Altered States. I do too. Robert says, we also need the music lovers. Yes. Oliver Reed's finest performance. The Devils, right? The Concrete Special. Yes. Ken Russell box set would be perfect for 1000, says Robert. I agree. Wolfgratz, yes, for that matter. Mahler needs a better release too. Yes, I have Mahler. It's a Japanese Blu-ray, I think. But Matthew says, I actually don't mind his version of Tommy. Yeah, Tommy. Yes. Satanamet. I'm sorry if I get that pronunciation wrong. Masaki Kobayashi's Human Condition should be Spine 1000. He is so underestimated. Yes, that would be great. The Human Condition, I think, is already in the collection. What is it? It's in the 400s, I think. Do I have that right? 400 something. So I guess they could repeat it, but I don't think they've done a repeat of the same title. But who knows? Who knows? It could happen. But in any event, I understand it. It's a great. It's a monumental set of films. I completely agree. And let me just go down the list here. Jared says Jaws is my favorite Spielberg film. My favorite Spielberg film are Jaws, Sugarland Express, and Close Encounters, says Dave B. Yes. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to skip some of the comments here. I'm so sorry. Reese says Schindler's List is mine. You know, Schindler's List, that's a very interesting film. I should talk about that one day, but I do admire that film, Schindler's List, very much. So that's a good one to have, Reese. Melinda, hello, Melinda. It's so nice to see you. Oh gosh, thank you. You know, Melinda. I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. Melinda is one of the first people who inspired me to do videos in the first place, and so Melinda has my eternal thanks. Because if it wasn't for Melinda's kind suggestion to me, or her request to me way back last year, I wouldn't have been making videos. Because Melinda had asked me when I was on a Facebook group, she asked me to do a little review, a video review on a Laserdisc. And the Laserdisc was the Laserdisc was what was it? It was where is it here? Yeah, here it is. The Laserdisc that she asked me to review was this, which was CLV Brazil. So CLV Brazil. So this was the Laserdisc that she asked me to review because it's actually a pretty rare Laserdisc. It's not so easy to find, and so I had mentioned that I had it, and so she had asked me to do a little video on it. And it wasn't such a great video. It was just me showing the front and the back or something. But it was thanks to her, thanks to Melinda, that I became a little bit more confident in doing videos. And so I started to upload more videos onto Facebook, and they got longer and longer. And so I had to go to YouTube. So thank you, Melinda. You have my eternal thanks. You are really great. So thank you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's see. So Orbital Robot says, Close Encounters is my favorite Spielberg film. Yes. Yes. Matthew says Newman. So I'm assuming this is Wayne Knight. Yes. Hello, Newman. My favorite Seinfeld episode, there are many, but I think my favorite part was, do you remember the Seinfeld episode where it was the spit in the movie theater? And it was the whole thing about the magic loogie, and it was the whole thing about the JFK and the JFK assassination. And I love that because Wayne Knight also appears in the Oliver Stone film JFK. So that's great. You know, I really hate Oliver Stone, but that's another story. But Wolfgrat says I prefer Bradbury Short to AI. Nazarene Prod, oh yes, evening, yes, from Scotland. Hello, my friend. I have the Arrow Romer box set from the recent sale. It looks beautiful. Yes, I have the Arrow set as well, but I don't have the French set, I think. But the Arrow set I do have. Let me just skip around here. So, Orbital Robot says about Spielberg, I enjoyed his version of War of the World. Yes, me too. Nazarene Prod said, on Ken Russell, I have just bought 2 of his films, Valentino and Fall of the Louse of Usher. Yes, 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 well done. Channel, Daisuke, it's always great when you pull those lasers out. You're awesome. No, not at all, not at all. Thank you very much. I'm just fortunate to have been able to collect a few over the years, so thank you. Channel, thank you very much. I love your name, by the way, Channel. That's great. Let's see. Sorry, gosh, I'm so terrible with this. Oh gosh. Gosh, sorry about this. I just jumped around. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Yes, there's more discussion of Wizard of Oz. All Things Film says Wizard of Oz for Spine 1000. Yes, that would be great. Hot Pepper says, hey Daisuke, I just saw the film La Haine recently. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. I'm sorry I haven't commented on your videos before, but I really enjoy them quite a bit. Oh, thank you, Hot Pepper. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Oh, wow. Oh, cheers to you. Oh, that really makes me very happy. Thank you. La Haine, yes, La Haine. It's wow, what a gritty film. That is, it's like it's kinetic. It's in the Criterion Collection, of course, and so yeah, just it's a jolt. I want to talk about that again very soon. But yes, yes. Oh, Melinda. William Mann. Hello, William. Do you prefer Branded to Kill or Tokyo Drifter? I prefer. Oh gosh, I don't want to choose between the two. That's so difficult. I love the song Tokyo Drifter. I love that song, Tokyo Nagaremono. I love to sing that in karaoke if it's in the machine, and so if it's there, I'll sing it at karaoke. But Branded to Kill, I think, has Branded to Kill has a little bit of a darker tone, and so I guess it depends on my mood. So. Let's see. Just skipping around here. I don't want to spend. I don't want to take up more of your time. Gosh, it's been about an hour, so maybe we can say maybe about 5 or 10 more minutes. But because I want to take my dog for a walk. So sorry, I'm just skipping around here. Oh yes, Jack Clare says favorite Kubrick series, Barry Lyndon, Eyes Wide Shut in 2001. Yes, so Barry Lyndon I want to talk about later. I do have a lot of thoughts about Barry Lyndon. Most of them are very, very, very positive. And Eyes Wide Shut too. Eyes Wide Shut, I find that film to be growing on me. It has grown on me over the years, and I find that to be just a stunning work. It is. I contend it's a very optimistic film by Kubrick, very optimistic, and it has one of the great last lines of a film. I love it. I love that last line. It's a great line. Let's see. Satanamet says, Dr. Strangelove is a timeless masterpiece about a serious topic in such a humorous style. Yes, well stated, yes. Wolfgrat says, in my humble opinion, in The Shining, Jack starts well, nigh as mad as a bucket of frogs and leaves himself nowhere to go. We never engage with him. Yeah, I can see that. I see the madness set in, around the first time where he and Wendy have that little argument when he's trying to write and she comes in, he says, you're disturbing me. But that comes early on in the film. There's a little bit of that when he's driving with his family, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah. Let's see. Malachite says Kubrick was a master of genre, be it horror, science fiction, war, or comedy. He made among the best, if not the best, films of those genres. That's a very good point. Very good point. Let's see. Sorry if I skip your comment. I apologize. Fear and Desire, Rescale. How do you feel about Shrek? Oh, Michael Myers writes Shrek. I've only seen Shrek, the first one. I like it very much. I saw that in the theater. I like it very much. I don't own it though. Casablanca would be a great choice for Spine 1000, says Jared. Yes. Sorry if I'm skipping your comments. Sorry. That's Monsieur Hulot. Oh, I love that name. Lynch's Lime Green box set is one of my prized possessions. Yes, I have that. I have that somewhere. Monsieur Hulot. Hold on for 1 second. Let me just pull that out. Excuse me for 1 second. Oh. Let's see. Oh, something fell. Okay. Okay. So this is what you're talking about, right? Sorry about that. So this is what you're talking about, right, Monsieur Hulot? So this is the lime green set, and yeah, it's good. I got it because it's well, there's a lot of interesting things about. Maybe one of these days I'll talk about it. But it's a really nice set. It's not essential. It's DVD, but very good indeed. So there's that. And I'm sorry, I really have to get going soon, but let me just keep going here. Sean says, I once had a random dream that Encino Man had a Criterion release. That's with, why am I blanking on his name? Encino Man. Yeah, I also saw that in the theater when it was released. What's his name? Gosh. The guy from The Mummy, right? And the other guy. I'm sorry, but I you know, right, if Encino Man came into the Criterion Collection, I think I would be very happy. I don't think it's, I remember seeing it, haven't seen it, I've only seen it once. And I don't remember it being a terrible film, so, I mean, I think it would be very interesting to have it in the collection, so, who knows, maybe one day. Let's see, Lolita, there's a discussion of Lolita. Oh, interesting, okay. Oh gosh, I just jumped again, sorry about that. Brendan Fraser, thank you. Pauly Shore, thank you. Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore, thank you. Yes, thank you very much, thank you. So I'm embarrassed I blanked on the names Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore. There's also, around that time, I always mixed up Pauly Shore and Carrot Top. Do you remember Carrot Top? I always mixed up those two in my mind because they have a very similar appearance, although perhaps Pauly Shore or perhaps Carrot Top has a little bit more of a visually speaking, maybe his appearance is a little bit more colorful, perhaps. But they had a similar kind of thing. Pauly Shore had a little bit of a run there, didn't he, in the 90s? So that was a very interesting period. What are some other Pauly Shore films? Oh gosh. What are some other? But yeah. So, but then Carrot Top, then his career kind of changed because he became so huge, right? And he was like he like was working out a lot or something, and he had a lot of Las Vegas shows. I think, I'm not sure, but yeah, Carrot Top. I remember. One of my favorite things on YouTube is, I don't do this as much anymore, but one of my favorite things is to watch clips of interviews of Norm Macdonald and, oh, sorry, my computer's just died, so I'm afraid I can't read any more comments. I'm so sorry, but let me just turn this off. So I'm just going to have to rely on my iPhone for the last few minutes here. So if I skipped your comments, I apologize. I'll try to make it more of a prepared thing for the next live stream. And before I forget, I think what I'll do is maybe I'll schedule it for my weekend, so maybe around this time, Saturday or Sunday, my time, but I'll definitely schedule that, and then I will let you know in advance so we can just come together and have a nice discussion and all that. I really love this, by the way, not only interacting with you, but also I love your interactions with each other. I think that's really great. It really makes me happy. And please read each other's comments and reply to them, and that would be for me, that would be so wonderful. It would be so, I'm so happy to see that. I'd love to see more of that, actually, just to see debate and discussions between you and in YouTube and the comment section and all that. I always thought that, like, well, I'll save that for another day. But what was I saying? Yes. Just to end the Carrot Top discussion, one of my favorite things to do on YouTube when I had the free time was to do random searches of Norm Macdonald. If you know the comedian Norm Macdonald, because I really love Norm Macdonald. And he had a great thing where he was a guest on Conan O'Brien, way back, and the other guest that was on at the time with Norm Macdonald was Courtney Thorne. Is it like Courtney Thorne Smith? Is that her name? She was an actor. I think she's probably best known for her work on Melrose Place. Do you know that show called Melrose Place? Anyway, it was around this time that I think she had left Melrose Place and she had decided to embark on her Hollywood acting career in the movies. And I think one of the first films that she decided to star in was a film that starred Carrot Top. And it was great to see that because Norm Macdonald was just roasting her and roasting Carrot Top. It's one of the funniest things. So if you have the time, please check out, do a YouTube search for Norm Macdonald, Conan O'Brien, and Carrot Top, and I'm sure it'll come up. It's very, very funny. And yes, chairman of the board. Yes, thank you. So chairman of the board. Thank you very much. Chairman of the board, yes. I've never seen that film, by the way, Chairman of the Board. I've seen that clip so many times of Norm Macdonald and Courtney Thorne Smith on the Conan O'Brien show, but I've never seen Chairman of the Board. I wonder if it's on a Blu-ray. And I'm not at all being facetious. I'm being very serious. I wonder if that's on a Blu-ray. I'd be very curious to see this film, Chairman of the Board, with Carrot Top and Courtney Thorne Smith. And Malachite says, I saw it as a kid. It's bad. It's not just bad, it's bad. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. That's great. Oh gosh. Connor is asking about Bava, and the comment just disappeared. I'm sorry. So just to be very quick, I do love Mario Bava's works very much. I do have a number of his works, most of which are on Arrow, but I don't. I haven't spoken at length about Bava. One of these days, I will. Yes, so let me just give it another few minutes and then we'll end it here. So I apologize. I can't read all the comments now because my computer has just run out of battery power. So I will just do that. So Robert says, have a great day. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. We'll have to talk again very soon. And just as a closer, please, I hope, keep watching a lot of great films, and please be well. And I guess if I could say that it's always a real pleasure to connect with you and to have just nice conversations with you. And it's also nice to see you talk with each other as well. It makes me very happy. And because a lot of, the comment section in the YouTube videos is really, really quite impressive. I'm always very impressed. And to be perfectly frank, I find myself almost out of breath trying to keep up with the scope of intelligence that you have. It's really great. So I want to say thank you very much for your kindness and your real great generosity and depth of knowledge and teaching me all the time. So just please keep it up. And also, if you come across any, how should I put it? I know that not all comments are positive. I know that there are maybe some quote-unquote negative comments as well that come in, and they could be directed at me. They could be directed at someone else. Who knows? But don't worry about those comments as well. Those comments are very welcome. So I'm perfectly fine with receiving negative comments. I think that what's the phrase? It's like in science or in physics or chemistry. There are positive ions and there are negative ions, and so we everything cannot be all positive all the time, but we need negativity as well. So I'm perfectly fine with those. I know people come from their different places, and so there might be certain viewpoints that are not necessarily. Maybe there are things that we might necessarily see eye to eye on, but that's the way the world works. So I'm perfectly happy with that. So, but if you come across any negative comments here, don't worry about it. Just take it in stride, and there's no need to fight. Just be. What's the song? One of my favorite songs is. Do you remember the song? Remember Bobby McFerrin, right? Bobby McFerrin had that great song, "Don't Worry, Be Happy." So I always love that song. So don't worry, be happy. And yeah, that's that. So anyway, let me go take care of my dog, and I will talk to you soon. So thank you very much again for your time, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a real pleasure, as always. And I apologize for the terrible organizational skills that I tend to have, and my low battery power and all that. So I really am grateful for your time. And for my Japanese friends, すいません、いつも英語でYouTube アップしてしまって申し訳ございません。なんかね、いつかまた日本語で挑戦してみようかなと思ってるんですけれども、ちょっといつもなんか調子に乗ってしまうと自然に英語になってしまうっていうか、日本語だったらちょっと恥ずかしくなる部分もあるっていうか、ちょっと今、検討中なんで、いつか、日本語でも、英語でも、両方混ぜて、っていう感じでもいいかもしれないんですけれど、いずれにしましてもちょっとまた挑戦してみたいなと思っておりますので、よろしくお願いいたします。So with that in mind, my friends, thank you very much, and I hope you're all doing well, and please be well. Thank you so much again, and don't drink all the Coke.